So as a child, I was raised up in a Christian home. As I grew to become an adult, it was usual to start paying tithes. After all, I watched my parents do it for many years. I also watched many other grown-ups around me do the same thing. 10% of every income, a tenth of all that comes into their hands. It was taught in church that as they continue to tithe, the windows of heaven would be opened unto them and they will receive an outpour of blessings from God. So once I grew up enough to have my first salary, I just followed the same pattern to pay my tithes so I can receive my own portion of these blessings from heaven. So whenever I got my paycheck, I would take out 10%, transfer to the church account. Whenever I received the credit alert, I would take out 10% and transfer to the church account. This happened over and over and over again. At first, it was so easy to do it. It felt so good, satisfying my religious conscience. I felt like a good Christian. I was proud of myself. But as time went on, I noticed it became difficult to keep paying these tithes, as I could barely live on what was left after I paid them. I would skip meals many times. Going to my workplace, I would trek to and fro just to save some money so I can eat something reasonable. Life was not looking like what I expected. I became so frustrated. I was not seeing the kind of progress I imagined in life. I felt like a fool as I never noticed any open heaven on this head of mine. It wasn't easy for me. I kept on thinking of all the promised blessings that should come from my tithes. So I made up my mind. I was about to make the decision to stop paying my tithes and to stop giving in church. I was very particular about this. But that very evening, I was on YouTube as usual, just scrolling around many videos. Then I saw a video on tithing. I clicked it, I watched it. When I was done, I had an urge to watch more. So I searched out other videos on tithing. I went through many videos that night, one video after the other. I wanted to be sure if there was something more I needed to know. I watched and watched from one video to the next. As I listened to these various teachings, I began to cry. I cried so hard because my ignorance became so clear and glaring. I finally discovered the way out, and that is, tithing is not a scam. But a tither can be poor and feel cheated if they fail to move from tithing to the next step. And that is where I missed it all these years. I missed out on that next step. In my findings, I discovered that the blessings that come with tithing are so real. But first of all, I must learn to know how to identify them. It's exactly what many financial gurus teach. They often say that the difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich know how to identify and maximize opportunities, but the poor do not know how to identify nor maximize opportunities. So when life-changing opportunities come around the poor, they most likely would not recognize it. I discovered this was the exact same thing for me as a tither. I must learn how to identify the blessings that come from tithing so I could maximize them to my benefit. I began to understand the blessings from tithing could be spiritual and sometimes physical. I noticed these blessings include wisdom, divine help, supernatural favor with God, favor with men, divine speed. When I discovered this, I immediately remembered how I received free rides many times down to office while trekking. This was favor. God had given me great favor, but I couldn't recognize it then. Many times I would get credit alerts from friends and family. I would get free internet, data subscriptions here and there. God's blessings were with me, but I couldn't recognize it. I took all those for granted. I never saw them to be blessings from God. I also noticed I hardly felt sick. I had gone for a long time without any form of fever. I was speechless at this discovery. That was divine health released on me through God's grace, but I had not learned how to recognize it. This next one is the worst of them all. I always had many business ideas. It would come here and there. I would always feel this urge to start my own business alongside my regular job, but I always ignored. I was just so lazy to follow up on these promptings in my spirit. I guess I was just waiting for a financial miracle to land upon this head of mine. Indeed, I had cheated myself because God's word is true. He is ever faithful. In all of this, it is obvious the reason why 99% of tithes seems not to work is because many tithers fail to recognize the blessings that come with tithing and those who recognize them may have failed in maximizing them to their benefit. I made this my assignment in life to be conscious of these blessings so I do not lose out anymore. Now, many years later, things have changed. I'm really confident that tithing is not a scam. I give with so much joy and assurance that my givings are not a waste. Now I have learned to take my givings far beyond tithing. For instance, I simply identify a need in my church within my capacity and do my best to fulfill that need.